Albert Einstein once said, "Everybody can handle order, but only a genius can master chaos." Well, even though he was a genius himself, I have to disagree with him on that statement and believe order and organization is essential in everyday life. And in this video, I will share a proven, simply structured framework how you can become more organized in personal life or at work to always stay on top of things and keep everything under control. Hi all, my name is Leah, and on this channel I help you to grow in all respects of your personal and professional life with the aim of becoming more organized, balanced and happy. So if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell. Up front, just to be clear, I'm not an organization freak, at least not 100%. However, in my job as a management and industry consultant, I always needed to be very well organized, and I also have carried that over to my personal life. So over the last couple of years, I've been using several different organizational tips and methods and combined them into a simple framework to follow for better organization, the org circle. And no worries, it may sound more complex than it actually is, so let me explain what that actually means and how you can easily use that concept in your everyday life. The first step in the org circle for getting more organized is to increase your awareness of what's good or rather badly organized in your environment. The easiest way to get a feeling for best practices and ideas is to learn from others and at the same time critically review your own way of doing things. So keep your eyes open if you talk to friends or colleagues, visit their home, or even when watching videos or series. Look for areas or people that are nicely organized and just ask the other person how they are doing it and which approaches they are taking. Or note these examples that you see and might want to consider for yourself later. Don't forget to start with the end goal in mind, as already Stephen Covey in this book laid out, meaning don't be shy to already aim for a very high standard and be open for the very best practices from the very beginning. Next up is planning or scheduling, or in other words, it's just all about putting a structure around your ideas and plans. That means, for example, if you want to become more organized at work, plan your day, your week, and your individual to-dos and make sure to not miss out an important aspect. By the way, here's a video that I did on how to organize your calendar for work or school, so check that out as well. But also, if you want to become more organized in your personal life at home, make sure to completely think through, for example, your weekend plans or the way you might want to redesign your flat. If you may want to remodel your home, make sure to properly structure the project with a sketch, shopping list, a to-do list, a timetable, and so on. Overall, in this second planning step, it's all about taking the time to make sure you have properly structured and thought through your projects and plans. I'm not saying you cannot start without a plan at hand. However, a plan, sometimes more or sometimes less detailed, just helps to stay on top of things and not miss out any important details in work or in your private life. And once you've thought through your plan, you should capture it thoroughly. Obviously, this can also be done in parallel with laying out your plan in step 2. In general, and from my experience, there are only 4 simple formats that you need to capture everything to stay on top and super organized. First, a classic to-do list with the most pressing items, including a backlog, meaning a list of things that are not urgent now but should not be forgotten and ideally completed in due time. Then there's a calendar including major meetings and events. Ideally, your calendar should match with your to-do list such that you find your to-dos in a dedicated calendar slot where you can work on these things. Third, there should be space to capture important information or statements such as meeting notes at work or some other useful information that you might need again in the future. Again, here's a video where I share best practices to good note-taking at work. And finally, a simple list of notes, ideas, or some space to brainstorm is required. At least for me, a space to put down random notes and thoughts that might become handy at some point has proven quite useful. Again, I highly recommend using a classic notebook here, but any other note-taking tool works as well. In any case, it's crucial to capture all these things regardless of the method or tool you're using. This can be in a classic paper-based notebook or via an app or a digital notebook. Just make sure to choose a format that you feel comfortable with and will use on a continuous basis. Ideally, you can store almost all of your notes at one place such that there's no friction that you would have if you would need to switch between tools. In my personal life, I myself use Notion for all of my organization, note-taking and to-do lists. And in my professional life as a consultant, I use OneNote. As a calendar, in both cases, I use Outlook, and in private life, also Gmail. Step number 4 of becoming more organized is prioritization. Now that you know your to-do list and your backlog of activities, it's time to think about their importance impact, and sequence. In short, it's all about matching your tasks or your thoughts to your goals and then defining the sequence of activities. Back to our example with redesigning your flat. So if your goal is, for example, to buy some new furniture and paint your flat, you should first think about the colors and the style you would like to go for before buying paint and new stuff. Also, buying decoration might not be required in the first place, but only at a later stage once the rest of the redesigned room is set up. Well, these things may sound really simple, but oftentimes also in my professional environment, I see people skipping several steps in a process because they did not plan and prioritize properly. Further, you should regularly challenge yourself, your to-do list, your schedule, and your whole environment. That means you should try to simplify and declutter your life wherever possible, because fewer items, meetings, things, to-dos, or belongings are easier to manage and organize. So therefore, I highly recommend not only challenge your to-dos and activities and see if you really need them and want to do them, or if they really make an impact towards your goals. But also, I recommend decluttering your belongings every 6 to 12 months. So since Marie Kondo and minimalism has become a huge hype, I guess I do not need to go into the details on decluttering, but just want to emphasize that it does make a difference in becoming more organized. If you would still like me to talk about my personal approach to decluttering, just let me know in the comments down below and let's see how we do that. As I just said, fewer things, to-dos, and to own or store help to become more organized, simply because it makes it easier to find a place for all of your items if you own less. And that's step number 6 of the org circle, finding a home for everything and making sure all items are stored properly at any point in time, because it will help you to have a better overview of your belongings, your to-dos, your meetings, and your life in general. And with that, I do not only mean physical items, but also your digital assets or even your notes on your phone or your computer. An organized environment will give you the peace of mind of knowing where everything is, save you so much time in searching for items, and also shows others that you are under control. So simple as that. And again, if you're looking for a way to organizing your digital files, check out this video where I give you some hands-on examples on how to do that. Now, having completed the basic steps of the org circle, there are 2 more essential things you need to do to become more organized. First, repeat the org circle over and over again. Obviously, it's a circle, and to be precise, a reinforcing one that becomes easier and faster to complete the more often you have done so. So that's why you should be consistent and make the individual steps become a routine. I promise. If you develop the habit of following the org circle whenever it comes to planning or organizing, it will become second nature in no time, and you will be much more organized eventually, not needing to look at the individual steps anymore. But all of the above requires one thing: you need to action. So you need to start the process and stop procrastinating and finding excuses for not organizing your life. Remember, done is better than perfect. So just start the journey and see where it gets you. I'd highly appreciate if you could let me know in the comments if you found this framework helpful and if you're going to implement some of the techniques in the future. Also, don't forget to like the video and make sure to subscribe to not miss out any further videos. Thanks for watching and see you next time.